Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. So, I think this is a sign of great weakness coming from the West, and they are going to use Zelensky into inviting the Russians to the next Ukraine Peace Summit. So that is the Ukrainians and their boys, or the boys and the Ukrainians. They created a summit right in Switzerland. They didn't invite Russia. So you have two warring parties, you invite only one, and the other one can stay away. You make a decision based on the one. That's not how you do it, but nevertheless, that's basic investigative protocol, but not even. If you want to find out the truth, you ask as many people familiar with the issue, including the parties involved in the garbage. So they created this summit in Switzerland, if you remember, and now Zelensky wants to invite the Russians, the Russians to attend the summit. We'll discuss how imbecilic, how weasel-like that offer is, and I guarantee you the Russians will say, "Niet, my boy, niet." Why? Because I'm strong. Anyway, and I make my own rules. I don't allow any other vassal state over there by numbers to impose rules on me, and I'm going to show up where? In your little court of garbage? No, I don't think the Russians will make that. I'm convinced the Russians will not make that mistake. Now, that's the first one. Zelensky U-turns as he invites Russia to attend peace summit without giving up land. All right. Now, the other topic is we're going to find out what is the Russians' answer to that. They will say yes, no, or the counter-offer, or under what kind of circumstances they see a peace summit occurring. This is the second topic. The third one, Viktor Orban. Now the president, or at least Hungary is at the presidency of so-called European Union, he visited Kiev a few days ago. Remember, yesterday and the day before, and he urged Zelensky, even though he shouldn't talk to Zelensky, he should talk to the guys about 6,000 miles to the west over the Atlantic. He urged Zelensky to accept or to discuss the Putin's offer of the ceasefire. Zelensky said, "Niet, thank you very much," or I don't know how you say in Yiddish, probably is like blah blah blah. So Zelensky said blah blah blah, that is no, I think in Yiddish. I'm not fluent in Yiddish, but I'm just... Anyway, move on. So blah blah blah, that means no. Niet means no, blah 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 means no. And then Viktor Orban travels to Moscow to meet none other than Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin. And we're going to see the European Union's reaction to Viktor Orban's visit to Moscow. Obviously, they're not thrilled about it, but unelected officials will tell an elected official, Viktor Orban, hey, would you disagree with this, and blah, 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 you're not authorized, and so on. Remember, that garbage called Michel, a guy from, I think he's from Belgium, if I remember correctly, he's unelected. The guy looks like Zmihal. He's not a Zmihal, though. He's not. I checked on that guy. He's not, but he looks just like Zmihal, my friend from the Prime Minister of the Ukrainian nation. So that's Viktor Orban. We're going to find out the European Council President, what he has to say about it. Right. Next one. And we're going to have the answer for Vladimir Putin and how he sees the peace talks with Ukraine to begin and to end, if they will get to that position. And at the last resort, Mr. Zelensky urges, and this is another one, urges China and United States to mediate for a fair war resolution. Why do you think Russia would accept that? Back the fuck off. I'm not talking to you. It's between me and supposedly Ukraine. Why? Because until the February 2021, right, it was about me and NATO. NATO said off, beat it, and the Russian says, yeah, okay, no problem. We're going to do what we do best, which is being Europeans. So let's start with the first article. This comes from The Telegraph. Zelensky U-turns as he invites Russia to attend peace summit without giving up land. Now, from the very beginning, if you have the power to invite someone, that means you are in control. Why do you think Ukraine should be in control of something between Ukraine and Russia as the alleged warring parties? All right, let's say attend the peace summit organized by whom? Only by Zelensky's group. Zelensky is the guys in charge. So it's like Russia will show up to a group of 70-some countries picked and by Al Capone, and he's gonna obey. Russia is gonna be invited as a poor relative of I don't know whom, show up over there in their court. Do you think that would be fair? All those guys will be over there jumping at Russia's throat. Russia will not participate. And why would it? Why would it participate and say, yeah, we're gonna come here where the French are, the Germans are, the Czech Republic is, and others? Who the f are you? You're not my judges here. Back off. And they're gonna be just like this. Boof. And all will be like, oh, scatter in the air as cowards as they are and vassal states. So Ukraine attributes itself the power to invite, like it's master of the ceremony somehow, okay, and it's in chords, not even doing rope-a-dope, like what's his name, Muhammad Ali, is just like, I have to bring it up, I'm sorry. Usyk versus Fury. Remember how Usyk was following in the 8th round and Fury was in the ropes? So that's Ukraine. In the ropes, and they, I don't know if I'm gonna invite you, maybe I will invite you, and I'm dead over there on the ropes. What the f are you talking about? So that's ridiculous. But hey, we are given this interpretation as if, yes, indeed, Ukraine is in charge, is stable, it's calm, it's, is okay, and then it's going to invite it to the world's community, which is less than 80 countries out of 193, which is what? Let's say almost a third of the countries. So no, you're not a majority, my boy. Things will solve between you and I. And tell your masters to fuck off. That's what Russia will say. I guarantee you that. Russia is done playing ball with those guys. Those guys want to pull a Gaddafi on Putin, and Putin is going to, Russia will participate and go, no, your rules are not good. I follow my own fucking rules. You know why? Because I can. I'm strong enough. That's what Russia will do. And Ukraine is, remember that picture with, what's his name? Tyson Fury. I like Tyson Fury. It's just, that came to my mind. And then it's the referee showing up or whatever. He's like, stop. What do you mean stop? There should be a technical knockout right there. Or let the guy hit the canvas. But no, too much money and others. Now the second one. The new voice of Ukraine. Zelensky plans to invite Russian representatives to second global, less than 80 countries, peace summit. It's not a global. Global when you have a majority, not a minority. All right, that's not global. Sorry, we like democracy, don't we? Not no more. So it's not a global. It's just a little group of vassal states, and Al Capone made sure that other countries will show up and participate. Otherwise, they're going to be slapped with blackmail, actually threats, blackmail, regime change, and then bombardments. These are the tools in U.S. diplomacy in the last 33 years since 1991. You know why? Because it can. It's strong. And say, you know what? I'm going to give you Pax Americana flavored in America. But they took a dump on us, American citizens. Why? Those guys over there. Through voting. We voted and they have 5, 4, 3, 6, 2, whatever mandate they have to do what the hell ever they want and then destroy our lives and our future generations. Now, next article. Russia will not participate. Next Russian, yes. Let's see what Putin says about it, what Russia says about this invitation, or at least how do they see it. About a week and a half ago, Vladimir Putin again laid out a ceasefire offer. He said we're going to have a ceasefire if 1, 2, 3, 4 things. Now, Ukrainska Pravda. Putin suggests continuation of Istanbul Peace Talks with Ukraine. He says, well, you know what? It's between me and you. Those guys, I don't care. You do whatever you want. With NATO, we're fighting in Ukraine. You know that one. But they will have nothing to say, no say in how I I will make the rules. And if you want to participate, we were going to allow you in Istanbul. And we're going to participate with you under our common rules. But if you continue being a vassal state, great, you go over there, we're going to continue. So, Putin suggests continuation of Istanbul peace talks with Ukraine. Kremlin leader Vladimir Putin remarked at the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Plus meeting that Russia may return to the so-called Istanbul Agreements peace talks that were carried out between Russia and Ukraine in March 2022. And then Mr. Boris Johnson was parachuted by his bosses, not in UK, to show up and say, what are you guys thinking? Back off, stop. And then the Ukrainians called and say, sorry, the Russians, we scrape the agreements we had in Istanbul. But March 2022, but yield no results. Why, Ukrainska Pravda? Despite recently voicing additional requirements for negotiations, Shanghai Cooperation Organization, now I'm quoting, the Istanbul agreements remain on the table and can be the basis for the continuation of these negotiations. So they're on the table, we are coming back, we can never left, you left, and we can continue talking about it. So bring it on, come over, Red Rover. Putin began to lie. This is Ukrainska Pravda, claiming that Russia never refused and that it is now ready to continue peace negotiations. No, they refused only one time. You know when? When these guys were losing and they said, well, how about the ceasefire? But before the ceasefire, you Russians have to retreat. You get back to the 2022 borders. And Russia says, no, we're not going to talk about that. No. Why? I think they're sick and tired of being promised something and then those guys break the promises. You know exactly what I'm talking about? No, what the hell is going on here? No inch eastward expansion of NATO. That's one and many important one. And then it was the Minsk Agreement 2, another lie that those guys broke their... the second one was international law, the Minsk Agreements. The first one was a verbal gentleman agreement. But I guess those are not gentlemen. That is now ready to continue peace negotiations with Ukraine. When did he lie? According to the Kremlin leader, Ukraine appears to have refused talks under the guidance of the UK and United States. I think that's common knowledge at this point. So it's not only the Putin saying that, it's many others from UK's camp to the NATO's camp claiming that. Is it true? I don't know. We're going to find out, okay? We're going to find out. But you just say it's a lie when... All right. Putin also believes that the Istanbul agreements would benefit Ukraine, as it appears to have initiated them. Now, that's another one here from Sputnik. Putin says, ceasefire impossible until peace talks with Ukraine begin. So he said, we're going to still have you over there, okay? And then during that, we can negotiate if you want. We can negotiate. And during the negotiations, if we agree to certain points, we're going to have a ceasefire. But Russia will not get burned again. You say, oh, poor victims, Russia. Exactly. They were promised a lot of things. Following the summit of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, Russian President Vladimir Putin held a press conference where he touched upon the ongoing Ukraine conflict. And I'm quoting, "We cannot allow this ceasefire to be used by the enemy," NATO, not Ukraine, "to improve its position. We need to ensure that the opposite side takes steps that are inevitable for the Russian Federation. So a ceasefire, it's impossible without such an agreement," end quote, he says. And he says this also, we have always been in favor of negotiations, as you well know. We have never given up on them, end quote. This is what he says, and I'm quoting. "The only question is that it seems unlikely to me that the final end to the conflict will be achieved through mediation alone." All right, let's go to Zelensky, who's trying, before we go to Orban, Zelensky urges US-China mediation in fair war resolution talks with Russia. It's like the United States of America will agree, let's say, Russia and Germany being the mediators in, let's say, Kosovo. Are you kidding? No, we tell you what to do. We're not going to need mediators. The same Russia will not agree with their friends Chinese to have the other guys. No. Why would I? This is the whole point. If you're strong, the winners, they write the history. Why do you think we have all those trials and all that after the Second World War? Why do you think we have the history that we have about the Second World War and many other subjects related to the Second War? Because the victors wrote the history. If it would be the other way around, we're going to have the German history written by those guys. So that's the way it is. So why do you think these guys were asking the Germans, hey, after the Second World War, how should we write history? What should we do? No! I won, I'm strong, I tell you how things are done. That's how it works. They make it a little bit nicer for the baboons so they don't get spooked by eating their little fleas. All right, so they're busy over there. They wake them up when they need to go and vote and say, vote for, yeah, okay, boom. Unfortunately. So again, Zelensky urges US-China mediation. No, it's between Ukraine, which is unfortunately led by these Ukrainians, and the Russians. No, the Americans are out, the Chinese are out. All right? It's up to Russia to dictate. Why? Because it's strong. If there would be the things reversed, let's say United States of America fighting Ukraine, let's put it this way, it would be the same way. Why? The strong doesn't need the validation of the weak or any other guys. No, you try to hang me and you think I'm going to allow you to be my judge, my mediator? Thanks, but no thanks. I make my destiny. Not you don't. You don't participate. I tell you when I allow you to come in. When I call you, let's go, come over here. Okay, now you do this. That's how the strong acts. Not, can I have you please? Yeah, I think I would agree. Zelensky, can we have the mediator? Fuck no. All right, this would allow for a fair end to the war for Ukraine and the world, says Zelensky. I think America, China, I think together, the head of state said, I know that we have big issues between them. I understand that. But it seems to me that if we want this war to end fairly, no, they're going to destroy you. The Russians will destroy you. That's how it's going to end. They're going to destroy NATO. You're going to push them out. The Poles will enter. You'll see I have another article ready for you. I know this has been a big issue for the world, whole world. No, it's not for the whole world. It was between Ukraine, not even Ukraine, and Russia. It was between those, not the whole world issue. They made it that way, like the Second World War. It started between Germany and Poland. That's it. That's it. Do you remember who expanded and became a world war? The two countries that declared war on the bad dudes. Who were there? Great Britain and then France, very reluctantly, after about 48 hours after the British were calling on France. Hey, you said you're gonna back them. And the French, don't fucking answer. And they did. So from two countries, 1-on-1, the two intervened. So we're 3-on-1. And then the other guys, the Soviets, intervened. Hey, but Great Britain, the Great Britain and France did not declare war on Soviet Union. Why? Maybe because the guys in charge of Soviet Union were the guys in charge of their countries as well. You know who I mean? You know who I mean? Do you know? Huh? All right. If you don't listen to me more or go and... It's just a few clicks away. Just a few clicks away. I can give you some names. So anyway, the Russians will not agree with that. Now, Orban. Ukrainska Pravda. Orban travels to Moscow after visiting Kiev. 4th of July. Just days after visiting Kiev, Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban is about to visit Moscow. In what capacity? Now, note that this guy here, noted that Viktor Orban will travel to Moscow on July 5, today, just a few days after visiting Kiev and proposing to Ukraine a truce that would be beneficial to Russia, according to you. Otherwise, you're going to be right there, remember? According to Pani, Hungarian Foreign Minister, the great Peter Szijjártó, who was not part of Orban's group, he was somewhere else, in Kiev, and is regarded as a pro-Russian official. No, he was not pro-Russian, he's pro-Hungarian. That's the problem to these guys. Will also visit Russia. Meanwhile, the head of Hungary's Prime Minister's press services announced that Orban will attend the organization of Turchik State Summit in Azerbaijan on 5 and 6 of July. There you have it, my friends. The current meeting differs in that Hungary formally took over as head of the European Union Council on July 1st. So Hungary is the head of the European Union Council officially. This entails that Orban will meet with Putin as head of the EU Council presidency. We got it? All right. Now let's move to the next one. Ukrainska Pravda. European Council president, unelected by the European Union citizens, let's put it this way, on Orban's visit to Russia. He has no EU mandate. And this is this guy who looks like very much like Mr. Shmyhal, the Prime Minister of Ukraine. And you know who that guy is. But this guy, I don't think he's a Zelensky stand though. He looks like just a resemblance. Like Yermak looks like Weinstein. But hey, they're related, so what the fuck. European Council President, unelected by the European Union citizenry, Charles Michel, has issued a comment in response to media reports that Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban will visit Russia on Friday. And that's what he said. The European Council is clear. Russia is the aggressor, Ukraine is the victim. No discussion about Ukraine can take place without Ukraine, Michel wrote. How about Russia? No. So this is Michel, this garbage. And we have another article, and the last one. The Telegraph. Viktor Orban provoked European Union's anger with trip to meet Putin in Moscow. So he's not allowed? Or something? Hungary's Prime Minister has sparked anger in the European Union by agreeing to meet Vladimir Putin in Moscow. So, collaboration, cooperation, communication, in what appears to be an attempt to negotiate on Ukraine. Viktor Orban's trip was reported by an investigative journalist and confirmed by various EU and Hungarian officials, one of whom told Radio Free Europe, see who financed that garbage, Radio Free Europe, you're going to find them in the State Department and the CIA, it would be happening on Friday, today. Mr. Orban and Russian President enjoy a close relationship, having met twice since Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022. Got it, my friends? And says here, the European Union rotating presidency has no mandate to engage with Russia on behalf of the EU. This Charles Michel says he's the president. All right, the European Council is clear. Russia is the aggressor, Ukraine is the victim. No discussion about Ukraine can take place without Ukraine. Brrr. All right, here's my friend. Last word, and this is it. Thank you very much for being with me again today, my friends. And Russia will not negotiate in the framework the guys who want to pull a Gaddafi on the Russian president want. Why? They're too strong. And they're not losing. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.